Everything in college sports is a battle to be won. And I mean everything. Whether it is the most smallest, minute details to winning national championships, everything is a battle to be won. And case in point is college football media days. There have been all sorts of ways that coaches, players, conferences have tried to prove that they're the winner in whatever battle you can dream up. For instance, the American Conference, their media days begin on Friday. This is a battle to be won. UAB football tweeted a picture of a Blazer helmet at the airport in Birmingham that says, American Conference media days are upon us. Next stop, Charlotte. And the Tulane head coach John Summerall retweeted it with a picture of him and his players inside of a private jet with the question, first class? Question mark? Everything in college sports, especially college football, is a battle to be won. And that's why I'm really interested in the comments that James Franklin made at Big Ten Media Days, talking about how he's not necessarily especially a fan of Big Ten Media Days being held in Las Vegas. And if you haven't heard what he said, this is what he had to say about the whole ordeal.
A lot of our beat writers did not come to this because they couldn't afford to get out here. And the majority of our teams are near Chicago, where this used to always be. The majority of our teams are near Indianapolis, where this used to be. And it creates a different environment. I walk around the lobby. I don't see any signage. I don't see anything for the Big Ten. I don't see people getting autographs. I don't see, it's a different vibe and it's a different feeling. I think that other conference, when they have their meetings, there's essentially a press conference every single day at the end of the meetings. It keeps people talking about that conference at a time of the year and makes them relevant. We're not doing that. We need to be talking about the Big Ten and our programs and the things that we have done and making it as accessible to everybody as we possibly can and connecting with the fans. And don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I think Vegas is a special place, and I think they run events as well as anybody. But it's a different feeling. It's a different feeling. And I've been at those other places where people are putting up babies for you to autograph and stuff. It's different. So I think there's still some things that we got to be strategic and smart about that are going to put our conference and our schools in the best position on a national level, in my opinion.
And I think James Franklin, frankly, I think his heart is in the right place. I think he means what he's saying there when he's saying, like, hey, I want what's best for the Big Ten. I want to be shaking hands and kissing babies and do all that stuff where fans find this super accessible. I believe him wholeheartedly when he says, like, this should be more accessible to our reporters, to our fan bases, etc. It's also a little bit self-preservation, right? Because everybody is going to use something from Big Ten Media Days as a recruiting tool, whether it's a video about how cool your coach is and he's sitting down with Snapback Sports or Underdog Fantasy or whatever the case may be, or look at how many people are here for Ohio State and Michigan, but not for Penn State. And so everything is a battle to be won. And so this is James Franklin trying to argue and justify, even if his heart is in the right place, for why Big Ten Media Days shouldn't be held in Las Vegas. Now, I think that he does have a fair and valid point, and this is the difference, in my opinion, between the Big Ten and the SEC. The SEC Media Days, do them in Birmingham. That's the only game in town, man. Like, it's big time. The SEC Media Days are in Birmingham. You know what else is going on in Birmingham? Nothing. You go to Las Vegas for the Big Ten Media Days. You know what else is going on in Las Vegas? Lots of stuff. And the people in Las Vegas don't give a damn about what there is going on with Big Ten Media Days because there is a whole plethora of entertainment options, all sorts of stuff going on. SEC Media Days come to Birmingham. You know what else is going on? Nothing. James Franklin talked about how at the end of SEC Media Days, there's basically another quasi-press conference because there's that demand there. Well, yeah, there's that demand there because in Las Vegas, the guys that are there to cover Big Ten Media Days, you know what they want to do? Go do stuff that's in Las Vegas. Gamble. Go see Wayne Newton, Kelly Clarkson, I don't know, whoever the hell else is out there. There's all sorts of stuff to do. You know what the guys at SEC Media Days in Birmingham want to do after SEC Media Days? You know what the options are to do? Either get shot or go somewhere else. So he's right that it is a big-time difference compared to even when the Big Ten Media Days are in Indianapolis. You know what else is going on? They got a shrimp cocktail down at St. Elmo's. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot to do. There's not a whole lot going on that would make you think, well, what the hell else are we going to do on Big Ten Media Days? You don't have that. I had a friend who played college football and played in several different bowl games, not, New Year's Six games or anything like that, but he played in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl and also played in the New Orleans Bowl, I think the next year. And I was like, oh man, that's such an upgrade, the New Orleans Bowl compared to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. And he was like, no, the New Orleans Bowl, nobody gives a damn about it. In New Orleans, nobody cares. But the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, the city shut down for us. It was a big-time deal. There's a bowl game in this city, and it was a way cooler experience. And I think it's somewhat similar here of like, if the Big Ten Media Days are in Indianapolis and even Chicago to a somewhat lesser extent, compared to Las Vegas, is a whole different planet. And so I think it's fair for James Franklin to say, one, it's difficult for the people who cover my program to get out here. And I think that's a fair and valid gripe because I'm certain that not only flights, but hotels, then you pay stupid resort fees, then you pay food, etc. That racks up when you're trying to fly from either Pittsburgh or Philly to Las Vegas. But then at the same time, is it fair to make those people in the programs from Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA continually fly to Indianapolis, Chicago for those events? I think this is one of those things that's the byproduct of a marriage not necessarily made of convenience or really necessity. It's a part of the marriage of greed for the Big Ten and Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA to say like, hey, this is just going to be one of those things that likely nobody's ever going to be happy about. And that kind of stinks, to tell you the truth, because this is one thing that you should be able to pull off and accomplish without having to worry about whether anybody feels slighted, whether it feels fair, etc. But I give James Franklin credit for sitting in a room in Las Vegas, surrounded by Big Ten officials, Big Ten media, etc., and stopping short of saying, this sucks. And I wholly get it. And I don't think, I'm not necessarily advocating for Big Ten Media Days to go to the UP or Peoria, where they're going to be the biggest game in town like the SEC Media Days are when they go to Birmingham. And to be fair, they've gone to Dallas, they've gone to Nashville, they go to Atlanta, etc. And at some point, they just try not to be the smartest folks in the room. But I'm here to tell you, I wouldn't be shocked if we get to a point where James Franklin is talking about, I don't think that the Big Ten Conference Championship game should be held at Levi Stadium in San Francisco. And it's not in San Francisco, it's in Santa Clara. Yeah, I know. I can see wholly a situation where he's saying, we don't want to play the conference championship game in Las Vegas. And it's going to be a really interesting dynamic, in my opinion and perspective, to see how those politics play out down the line. Because those four ultra-Western schools, I don't think are just always going to be like, hell yeah, let's go to Indianapolis or Chicago for the Big Ten tournament basketball, or Indianapolis for the Big Ten tournament, and Chicago if they ever get their heads out of their woo-hoos and build a dome. Eventually, they're going to say, hey, what do we have to do to get the Big Ten championship game in California? The Big Ten tournament in Las Vegas, in Seattle. What do we have to do? And to see those dynamics play out in real time. right? Because right now, everybody's still super thrilled, hunky-dory. This is such a great addition for the Big Ten. Yes, hooray! Eventually, the honeymoon ends, and the claws come out. And remember, everything in college football is a battle to be won. And so that battle is going to ensue at some point. And I think you get to foreshadow it right now with James Franklin saying, Big Ten Media Days out here sucks. He wants his program to be the constant talk of conversation. And I can't fault him for that. Not in the slightest. And he's right that the SEC does a fantastic job of staying in the headlines. But again, battle to be won. The Big Ten has to find out collectively, and it can't just be James Franklin pounding the table, being the one demanding it. It has to be all of them. But in that battle to be won, to admit that you're losing it, I give James Franklin a lot of credit. And to have the cojones, balls, nutsack, whatever, to sit there in that room surrounded by Big Ten officials, surrounded by Visit Las Vegas folks, etc., and say, this is terrible and I hate it. They didn't say that. He stopped short, but that's pretty well what he meant. I give James Franklin a lot of credit here. I think he's absolutely justified in his criticisms. And when you view everything through the prism of we're losing, or there's a winner and a loser in this situation, and we're not the winner right now, I got to tip my hat. Want to know your thoughts. Do you want to see Big Ten Media Day in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, or should it be in Indianapolis or Chicago? Are there other places that they should consider? Want to know your thoughts in the comments below. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. Appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting all the great college football content we're pumping out. If you're listening on the podcast feed, drop a 5-star review. Goes a long way in helping out the channel. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Huddle.